the underlying landmass is thin and not locked in. It's interesting that the Soda Creek in Idaho, the Soda Creek earthquake we had a few weeks ago, I was watching it, as were others that study earthquakes, and we saw that there were like thousands, like 1,800 to 2,000 aftershocks. And then when you go back to look at it now, they say at USGS, there was maybe 280 quakes and aftershocks and stuff there. They're playing that down, but it's one of 3 points along a fault line in the Rocky Mountains going down into Southern California that are starting to buckle. And I think that we can call this a sign of impending large earthquakes somewhere along that fault line, the Rose Canyon.
I mean, is it accurate to say the last 20 years we've seen the Great Rift of fault lines, the Pacific Rim, really getting into a more energetic phase?
Oh, absolutely. One of the other things I noticed with this is the number of sinkholes around the planet. When you and I were young, we didn't hear about sinkholes.
I never heard of a sinkhole.
No. And I know this is contrary to established science, so I'm going to say that ahead of time. But I'm one of the people that supports the Earth expansion theory, in that the Earth has expanded at least 25% from its original form. And it may be expanding again, which would explain, as the crust starts to stretch uniformly, that it would weaken the structures that hold the dirt together around leaks and stuff, where the water erodes and makes a sinkhole. So the pressure that normally, the hydrostatic pressure that normally keeps the ground together around these areas where the leaks could occur, is now released, and we see these sinkholes.
Well, don't things expand as they cool?
Yes and no.
Solids do what water does when it freezes. I mean, I would think if the Earth is cooling, it would be expanding some.
Well, I think all the planets and stars do expand as they age.
Well, they do expand until they implode. You're right. I mean, the stars.
Yeah, well, stars are a different category because they have physical or like fusion reactions going that complicate the issue, because they produce back pressure coming back out when they start to collapse. Red dwarfs and things of this nature do form, but the energy that does that produces heat and expansion. So it's an oscillating state. I'm working on a paper we're working on for probably about 15 years now about the nature of gravity as a fluid mechanical thing, that all gravitational fields are a result of spinning vortices in the fluid of space, ether space. And because of that, as it's like in a glass of water that you stir with little pepper particles in it,
centrifugal.
As you let go, well, yeah, as it slows down, things start to fall apart, and expand. And
that's what they say, is the universe expands, its expansion is slowing.
Yeah, there are two schools of thought on that, but yeah, I think that it is slowing down. They found, surprisingly, that there is some kind of missing material that they hadn't planned on in their model of the universe. It's dark energy and dark matter.
Now, what is dark matter? Because now even top scientists say there's an outside force controlling the universe. Now they believe in God. I mean, that's all over the news.
Interesting, isn't it? To come to that conclusion this close to when things are about to change. I think we're months away from a major revelation by God on this planet. One last outpouring of knowledge to get people to understand what it's about and to accept salvation through Jesus. And if they don't, well, that's on them. But every effort is being made, I'm sure, by God to alert people to the true nature of His creation and where it's headed. I learned a lot of these things when I was out of my body in 1969 near death, because I was very curious and asked, how does the universe work and how does gravity work and all that kind of stuff. And I was shown these things. But the whole nature of what we know in our universe is something solved by what's called fluid mechanics or hydrodynamical equations. And for that, you need to have a fluid, a fine structure, which is the dark matter and dark energy. And we've known this since the time of James Clerk Maxwell. There's a fluid space out there whose atoms are so tiny that they're like, atoms are compared to our sun now, but comparing those atoms to our atoms, millions of times smaller. And that's the